Hello world, my name's Greg. Welcome to the Vanguard Cycles YouTube channel. Today we're going to be having a look at the installation of a Shimano Hollowtech II crankset. As usual, if you have any questions or comments about the video, or if there's anything else you'd like us to feature on our YouTube channel, please let us know down below. And if you could like and subscribe, that would really mean a lot to us here to help build and grow the channel. Okay, let's get into it. So let's look at installing a Shimano Hollowtech II crankset. Tools needed are a preload adjustment tool for the preload cap on the non-drive side, 5mm hex or Allen key, and a torque wrench with a 5mm bit set to 12 to 14 Newton meters. Normally we'd like to make sure that the drive side crank has some grease around here and on the spindle, but for the brevity of the video and mess, I'm not going to do that. So take the drive side crank, pop it into the bottom bracket like that, and simply push to make sure it goes all the way in. Now, on this occasion, there is a little bit that's not quite gone through because of the new bearings. So I'm just going to take the palm of my hand and push here to drive it all the way home. So we've installed our crank on the drive side of the bike and pushed it all the way through so that we've got the remainder of the crank spindle showing on the non-drive side. Make sure the drive side crank arm is down at the 6 o'clock position. Take your non-drive side crank arm up to the 12 o'clock and slide it onto the splines. Okay, there shouldn't be any resistance there at all. You can now rotate it round to the 6 o'clock and close the security cap. The next step is to set the preload. So take your preload cap and place it onto your preload tool. Okay, now this would normally have plenty of grease on it to make sure that it's all weather tight, but for the sake of the video and a bit of mess, I've not done that today. But take that on to the end of the crank spindle and very carefully start to screw that in to the right clockwise. What we're checking for here is in and out or lateral play on the crank arms. Okay, we need to make sure that we take up the slop or the slack in the bearings and remove that lateral play, but we don't want to over tighten it so that we affect or possibly damage the bearings in the running of the cranks. So what I'm doing here is just rotating it maybe a quarter or an eighth of a turn once it starts to get a bit snug, just to make sure that there's no lateral play in those cranks. And there I can tell that that is absolutely perfect. Okay. And the final job is to tighten down the bolts on the crank arm. Be careful, these are quite soft thanks to Shimano, so make sure that your tool is fully engaged before you tighten anything up. What I like to do is just take one round until it starts to engage the thread and you can feel some resistance, and take the other one round, then perhaps add a quarter turn. It's important not to just do one up all the way first and then the other. These need to be done gradually. And now we're at the point where we can take our torque wrench and again make sure that it's fully engaged into the crank and work maybe quarter turns. There we go. That's already set to the correct torque, 12 to 14 Newton meters. Let's check the other side. There we go. And let's just go back again and double check to make sure that we've distributed the load. Okay, that's one. And that's two. Job done. Well, there we are. I hope you found that video helpful, interesting, exciting. If you did, please let us know. If you didn't, please let us know. Right, see you next time.